What's up, folks? Welcome back to GamerVice. It's your boy Hank here, and we are here with a familiar face, Logan. Say hi to the folks.
What up, folks?
And Kevin. How's it going, Kevin?
What's going on, Hank?
All right, it's another week of news. What's happening in the gaming community? All the weight is on Microsoft. Okay, the weight of the universe, ladies and gentlemen. Starfield. All right. Will Game Pass live and die by Starfield? You know, Xbox really hasn't made waves as far as a game or a studio now that they own, I should say, in the gaming world. All right. A lot of releases, like we had Redfall just released, and didn't do too well. I can't really think back what else didn't do too well, but nothing has really made a big splash that was an Xbox exclusive from these acquisitions they've made. So do we think Starfield is the last string for the gaming community and Xbox? What do you two have to say about that?
Kevin, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Starfield is in the hot seat right now. As far as I'm concerned, it needs to do extremely well for Microsoft to be able to say that they are able to produce a AAA game that is received well by the critics, it's received well by the user base, and hopefully also doesn't have all these bugs. When you think about other developers that have amazing games like God of War, like Horizon, like Elden Ring, what they all have in common is that they're even though they're different types of games, they're critically acclaimed, and the user base all immediately reacts to them being in a positive way. So that's what Microsoft needs from Starfield. They need that kind of reaction, because let's face it, Redfall. Last week we were like, oh, Redfall, we're hoping for Redfall, or 2 weeks ago, before it released. Yeah. And Logan was like, he thinks it was going to get some 8s. Well, if you look if you look at some of those sites, I can tell you right now, nobody gave it an 8. I don't even think it came close. I can't what's before that as far as a first person. A first party release. I think Hi-Fi Rush, which was just like a random ass game that Microsoft released. It was good, but it was just like, it's just a game. No, but I don't even know if anybody played it. Did any of you play it? I know I didn't.
I played it. It's actually really good, but to your point, it's not one of those games that's going to move the needle for the gaming community at large.
Right. Yeah. So it's just like, listen, Starfield, and on top of it, Starfield has been on people's radars for the past 2-3 years. So this is something that they have to deliver on 100%.
Is it fair to say Starfield is like this year's or like this next release that is comparable to Cyberpunk before its release? Like, as far as this game, like the game everyone's waiting for, highly anticipated game. Is it fair to say it's near that? Because to this day, I still don't know what game has been so hyped like Cyberpunk and the amount of money that went into advertising. But what are your thoughts on that, Logan? Like, so where do you think Starfield sits on expectations list?
I don't think that there will ever be a game as hyped as Cyberpunk, at least not for a very long time. I mean, that game was on another level, man. Like, my girlfriend knew about Cyberpunk coming out. We had people, like, we're in group text where people who don't even play video games were like buying consoles because they heard Cyberpunk was going to be lit. Like, that game, the hype around that game, and then you throw in Keanu Reeves, who with the John Wick series, like, he has had like a rebirth of popularity. Like, everything had that game going. Even having the Billie Eilish song is like the song of the trailer. Like, everything was happening at the perfect time for that game to be hyped. You have Billie Eilish, one of the biggest stars and that was like the biggest song at the time. Keanu Reeves was one of the biggest stars at the time. They're attached to this game, which is supposed to be one of the greatest games of all time. So is Starfield's hype on that level? No. But I think as far as importance goes, especially when it comes to Xbox, as they have clearly struggled to produce any exclusives on their console. Like they need this game to do well. And I'm very nervous for Xbox. Like as an Xbox fan, I'm nervous for them because there's two things that are not a great combination when you consider how important this game is for Xbox. Number one, it's a brand new IP, and brand new IPs just don't necessarily do great all the time. Like it's a huge risk. Nobody really knows what to expect. Like there's no, you know what I mean? When you have GTA 5, for example, it's like, well, we've played GTA 4 and we played San Andreas and we know what we're getting and we know that it's great. So yeah, we're gonna buy this. Like I feel like you're gonna have a lot of people, especially with the track record of Xbox recently, who are gonna wait and see with this game. And if it doesn't review great out of the box, like that is going to really, really, really set Xbox back. And the second part of that is it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't review great out of the box because Bethesda is known for having janky ass games. And that's usually like it's like endearing, like it's kind of what they do. Like Skyrim was janky, you know what I mean? Like Fallout's a little janky, but I feel like because of the disappointment Xbox has had and the letdowns they've had, I feel like people are not going to want to be like, no, oh, it's cute because it's Bethesda, and Bethesda always makes it's like, no, this game better be polished, this game better be great, this game better be at least a 9 out of 10, or like Xbox is in trouble. I don't think they can afford to have like the traditional jankiness of Bethesda, but that's okay because it's Bethesda kind of treatment that their games have gotten in the past.
Yeah.
They need this to be a home run.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about Game Pass all the time and being the greatest value in gaming because they do have a lot of things on there. But the big selling point was, their first party games. And now the fact that they're acquiring so many big, developers and those now are first party games. So it's like, yo, if I got this for, $14.99 a month, I'm going to get all these dope releases. And it really hasn't given that trade off as far as new releases. Like, yeah, it sounds good, $14.99 for this everlasting library. It sounds good, but we all know people want to play the new stuff, the fresh meat, like what's new, what's going on. I don't have a problem always being able to go into backlog and play an older game. That's good, but where's our big hit? Because I'm looking at this list right here, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, we're going to list a few here. God of War, The Last of Us, Marvel Spider-Man, Uncharted, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, Infamous, which is no longer a IP that's going. All right, those are just a few. All right, that was like 7, 8 right there.
And they're all bangers. That's the crazy part.
Which Xbox exclusive jumps those? Like, what comes in front of any of those? Like, and I named 7 or 8. Like, really, I don't know. And listen, before you guys get it twisted here, we got PCs, we got Xboxes, we got PlayStations. We ain't no fanboys. So you fanboys can find yourselves in the comments and go off, but we ain't picking sides. I'm just talking about exclusives here. Like, when you really talk about it, I can play whatever game I want. All right, I'm lucky enough that I can do that. But
you're salty without even anybody saying anything.
I know, no, and I'm not. I'm just talking because I know how them people be getting out there, man. So bring it in the comments. I want to hear. You're just doing that because you liked it. Go ahead, type it in the comments.
They're paying you to say that.
Yeah,
but not yet. This is like what? Which exclusive is touching those titles? I don't see it.
Yeah, and
we need something like that.
And it's exclusive.
They need something like that.
The important part is exclusives because Xbox has first party games like Minecraft Legends Minecraft is a first party game. Like you could technically say like that was a good game. Like Deathloop is a first party game, but again, they're exclusives. Halo Infinite, who's playing that anymore?
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush, again, we just talked about it. Redfall, we just talked about it. So Starfield is the next at bat, and they got to hit a fucking
Forza,
grand slam.
like you get Forza, but like that's a very specific genre. You got your Raid, which is probably a really good game. But I'm just saying, again, on the level of these other titans up here that I just named, like, it ain't the same level of game, and that's just me being honest. It's just not, and it's just
for sure.
So I mean, we can conclude that like Microsoft Starfield, Bethesda. Like, is this your last straw? Is this it? Like, or are you guys just gonna ride this Game Pass wave and make ripples? Or, I mean, I guess the big thing would be this whole acquisition and Sony being such haters. Now they're gonna end up getting the shit end of the stick here if this thing goes through. But like at the end of the day, don't even consider just getting Call of Duty as an exclusive anyways because it's not even that good of a game. But
And
yeah,
and there's 0% like and like it sounds like I mean I was kind of like beating that drum of like there's no way you spend this much money and these games don't become exclusives. But it kind of sounds like, Xbox has had to like concede a lot of things in order for this to go through, which I didn't anticipate. So like now,
Yeah.
like I don't think Call of Duty is going to be exclusive to Xbox like I did, a year or two ago when this was first becoming a thing. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't even think that this is going to bring them a lot of exclusives at all, or if it does, like not the ones that move the needle, right? Like I think that's the thing. All those games you mentioned, it's not just that they're good, but they're like they bring attention to gaming. Like they're major like releases when these games drop. Good, bad, ugly. Like these are big time events, right? Like in gaming, you don't get many huge releases every year, and it's just like it seems like so often now the huge releases from Xbox are just flops, and the huge releases from PlayStation are bangers, and it's like clockwork. It's kind of insane how many major first party exclusive Xbox has like released. Not that they release so many, but when they do, it's just like not one of them. Like not one of them. I feel. What's the last like huge? Not Hi-Fi Rush. No disrespect to Hi-Fi Rush, but again, we just said it's not moving the needle.
Right.
What's the last major first party Xbox exclusive that had people like, yo, I gotta play that?
I
I don't know.
I
don't know.
genuinely
I'm trying
don't.
to look, bro.
It's gonna be
Forza's
like
like
a
and it's like
yeah.
and Gears 5 like
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the one I was gonna point to. Like maybe Gears 5. I mean, the last Forza was good, but again, like Forza is such a niche game. Like as great as it is,
exactly.
people aren't like, man, I gotta go play this racing game. Like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
not the community at large. Not when if you go pull 100 gamers off the street and you're like, yo, or what game are you excited for? I don't think more than 6 of them are gonna say Forza.
We got Psychonauts 2. Like that's
Yeah, but again, that released
Yeah.
on PlayStation. So
Oh, did it?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So
So
And if you, I think it's because when you really break it down, if you look at like what are the major games, right? Like they're shooters, they're action adventure games, and I guess you want to throw in RPG elements are kind of in every game now, right? But it's like first person shooters, action adventures. Those are like the big genres. Those are the big blockbuster games, and Xbox just ain't hitting them. And every year we hear, oh, next year, next year, next year. Like, well, I've been looking at a calendar. I don't see what year says next year on it. Like, what are you talking about? Because you can't literally be talking about next year because we've been hearing that for 3 years and not a single game has come out that was good. It's not even just that they're missing. They're just not even releasing them. Like they're getting delayed and they're getting pushed back and all. Remember they said it was going to be, they had the first quadruple A game. That was like their phrase. I think it was going to be a quadruple A game experience. And everybody's like, what's it going to be? Is it Perfect Dark? Like what? And it's like, we haven't even seen anything from that yet. Like a title, like that's it. Like we don't even know what that's going to be. Like this is, it's crazy, bro. Like we have no idea what's happening. It's like imagine it's like because Apple is like kind of top secret, right? With their stuff. It's like imagine if they were like they just didn't drop an iPhone for 5 years, but we also didn't hear anything about the next iPhone. Like that would be wild. And that's literally what Xbox is. Xbox has like games that they're allegedly making that nobody knows about. They don't know what they look like. And then it's like we get what? We get Redfall.
just listen to this too. Yeah, it's nuts. Final Fantasy. What is it? 16? Is that what the number is?
that's coming out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Spider-Man, Wolverine. Let's not forget that.
Banger.
Death Stranding 2. Last of Us
Yeah.
multiplayer.
Just-
Like I'm just like these are I'm just saying because Death Stranding was a great like game review wise like and everything like it's it's supposed to be this great game. Those are all coming within 2 years. That's 5 right there. Like Where you at with the games? Xbox?
No, okay. So I know we're like shitting on Microsoft right
Nah,
now, and
and yeah, I guess,
it's just
yeah.
criticism because we criticize Sony for doing
I was
stupid
gonna
stuff
say,
too. So
play back the other videos. Fuck
I don't
Sony. You
I
don't
don't
even
want to
get me started.
pretend I don't want to pretend like Microsoft doesn't have anything because they still have Fable, which they're supposed to come out. Perfect Dark, we don't know
Yeah.
about, but apparently, like you said, quadruple A game. State of Decay 3. They still have Arc 2. I think is going to be
Yeah, Arc 2. That's the other. Okay.
exclusive. Again,
But with that
it's not
article that came out
necessarily
a month ago.
yeah, it's not necessarily my type of game, but Arc has a huge following, and we've talked about it before. They're probably just gonna, put a nice coat of paint on Arc and make it Arc 2.
They were milking Arc 1 until they got flack, boy. Woof. They was about to pull some nonsense.
But
here's the thing, but not to interrupt, but like this is the thing. It's like it's not that they don't have stuff coming that is alarming to me. It's just that one, like the things they keep missing so much that I'm losing confidence that any of those games are going to be any good.
100%.
Not that is necessarily even fair because like they're different development teams, right? It's not like the same development team is making all these games, so it's a little unfair to assume the next one's going to be a flop. But like that's naturally what happens, right?
Yeah.
And number two, it's like we have seen nothing from any of those, which kind of leads me to believe they're so far off. Because, like, again, I'm not a businessman, as much as I like to think I am sometimes, but I would have to imagine with all the negativity surrounding it, if we have anything good to show, we need to show it to try to get some people excited. And there's nothing. Like if there was ever a time to be like, yo, let's just show them a little something from Perfect Dark just to kind of like maybe get some goodwill back. You would do it, right? Or, whatever the insert, whatever game there were, Fable. Do we have just a little snippet, something to get people excited to let them know that it, but it's like radio silence. So it's like you don't even have anything to show to like try to gain back some kind. Like that makes me feel like these things are years away.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I think the dumb conclusion will be if Starfield flops, they're gonna try to fire Phil Spencer as a result of it, which in my opinion, and I could be wrong, I don't understand how the CEO has that much control over the development of these studios, but they're gonna use him as a scapegoat. And it sucks because I actually think he's a good CEO for Microsoft or for Xbox. And then we'll see what happens from there. It's like you said, once they started this constant like doubt, it's hard to regain people's trust in any of those developers, even though it's not necessarily fair.
Yeah, I think they made a critical mistake of like, back in my day when I was selling cell phones at Best Buy, there was a saying, you undersell and you overdeliver. They're doing like the opposite. They're overselling and then they're under-delivering, right? Like, we got all these great games and then they have nothing. Like last year, there was like literally nothing, right? And it's like, oh, no, we got this coming down the pipeline and then it's nothing. Oh, Redfall's going to be incredible. And then it's like they're overselling everything. It's like they did a great job of getting everybody hyped and excited for the future of Xbox. And then once we started to get even just a little bit of what they were saying, it's been disappointment after disappointment after disappointment.
You hate to see it.
We'll see what happens. September, is it still September 6th?
Yeah. So, well, no, I think that's people's guesses and stuff. I think I don't know if that was official, but June 11th we get an official like Starfield showcase. So that's going to be a lot. People are going to take a lot from that. And we will definitely be chiming in on that when the time comes.
If I can maybe like leave it with a little bit of a positive, like, I don't even know if this is a positive, but there's one thing I do got to say though. Like, yo, Phil Spencer he deserves all the credit in the world though, because in this sense, when stuff goes bad, like he does not duck any of that smoke. Like I listened to some podcasts and like he was supposed to be on like this podcast for like Kind of Funny, and like it was like a day or two after Redfall release and it was awful. And like it would have been so easy for him to be like, nah, I'm not doing that interview. Like we're in damage control. And like he did it and just like face the music, like, yo, this was a disappointment.
Yep.
It was a disaster. We messed up. Like, and he does that often. It's like when things don't go well, it's not like he goes into hiding. It's not like you don't hear from him. He's like the first person out there to not only like be seen and speak on it, but like he'll often, like you said, it's not his fault. He'll often take the blame. Like, yo, the devs are doing their best. It's my fault. I should have gave them more time, or maybe we should have fixed the messaging. Like, he's always getting out in front of the camera, in front of the people, and taking all the blame. And I respect that, because it'd be very easy for him to just be like, I'm good. This ain't my fault.
Right. To play devil's advocate, the only thing I didn't like is that in that conversation he had, he said that when they tested Redfall, it tested 10 points higher than what it actually reviewed at. So if Redfall is at like 52 out of 100, it tested at like a 62 or a 65 out of 100, which to me is like, that's still a bad game. Like, that's still not a great.
That's not what you. If you know,
that's
you're
not what you
releasing
should
a
be
60,
aiming
yeah,
for.
you don't want to
what I mean?
release a 6 out of 10 or 60.
Well, I mean, I could be wrong, but and like I agree with everything you just said. I think though, at the time he was saying it reviewed in the 60s, and I think he was saying like it was 10 points higher, so he was expecting it to be like a 7 out of 10, which is like it's not great, but it's like given the time and like, you know, because one of the things that really stood out to me that he had said was like they felt like it was fundamentally off. So it was like no matter how much time we gave them, it wasn't going to be that great, because it wasn't what they thought it was going to. Somewhere down the line, they got to a point of no return where it wasn't working, but you can't go back unless you scrap the whole thing. So like I understood when he's like, if we delay it, maybe it's a little more polished, but like the game itself is still not going to be good fundamentally. So I think when you combine that and thinking it was going to be a 7 out of 10, I can see how you're like, oh, that's a win. Like this game didn't turn out the way we thought, but if we can get a 7 out of 10 out of this, like, okay, like that means some people will probably like it, some people won't, but it's okay. But yeah, like still to your point, if like you don't want to release a 6 out of 10, like,
right. Yeah.
I mean, well, only time will tell. And we spoke a lot about this today. So those of you watching, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Starfield has to make a big splash in order to keep Microsoft's Game Pass and acquisitions afloat? Like all these moves, are they positives or are they really going to turn out to be negatives for Microsoft when it's all said and done? Guys, that's today's episode. Thank you to Logan. Thank you to Kevin for bringing us them hot takes. Okay. And without further ado, have a good one, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.